Good evening. A very small purchase to report. I was chumming my friend to a flat viewing in Shawlands in Glasgow, and I was walking back along Kilmarnock Road. I popped into the cash generators in there. Is it cash generators? It is. I've been in before, and it's shite really. They don't really have much there. I've never seen anything, kind of games wise, apart from. I mean, there's Xbox 360 stuff. There's PS3 stuff. There's some PS2 games and Wii games, but it's all the kind of, in terms of the stuff that the kind of relevant stuff to me. Wii, PS2. It's all the kind of, it's like sports games and like Wii cooking games and stuff like that. Not good ones. And then there's a couple of unboxed DS games that are invariably brain training or something like that. So yeah, it's not a great selection, and every time I've been in, it's been like that. It's in one of these kind of covered. It's outdoors, but like covered shopping centre bits, which is it's not overly pleasant. It's a bit odd because it's such a kind of local residential area, but it is a shopping centre ostensibly. It's kind of a bit weird. These are normally a bit, it is residential in there. It's kind of a slightly odd place to find those. Anyway, it's quite a lot like the place where the CEX is in Leith. I suppose, but that CX is good and this cash generator is shite, but they're different shops. Anyway, I went there today, walking past as I was, and I was, I look up the shelves and I go back and I look again. You often miss stuff, and it's sort of just to prolong the experience, which I savor. So, anyway, and I did notice they had one Game Boy Advance game, Rayman Advance, and I had kind of forgotten that this existed. I never played it. I never had it. As I understand, it is Rayman, the first Rayman for the PlayStation, but ported to Game Boy Advance. Now, the more little though it is, the more I learn about how games work and how they're developed, the more I realise I don't understand in terms of, say, whether this is a port or, whether it was made from the ground up. I suspect not, because I remember it having pretty similar graphics, or like the same graphics. But then it kind of, I don't know, I mean, I don't really know anything about it, but I apparently know enough to, stroke my chin and say, how would they port a PlayStation game to Game Boy Advance? I don't know, but then I don't know how they would I don't know what porting a PlayStation game to, say, something more similar, like a CD-ROM for PC or something, I don't know how they would do that either. So I don't know where the skepticism or the worry comes from. But all that is neither here nor there. This is, it's kind of, it falls into this kind of Game Boy intrigue category for me. And, well, that's weird, is it? No, it's not weird. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out. My camera, the screen is here, but the camera is here, and for a moment I was getting confused about how it lines up, but there's absolutely nothing to be confused about. This falls into the kind of faintly intriguing to me Game Boy category, because the immediate thought I had when I saw it was this it's not about it. It's not about the game being available on a Nintendo console as such. I don't think, and it's not like a. I mean, Rayman 2 was on the N64, so it just make you wonder why this game was made. I think it was pretty early on in the Game Boy's lifespan. That was really the only time that I remember them naming things Advance. Was pretty early on. You know, you got Super Mario Bros. Advance. That was like one of the launch titles, I think, and you know, that didn't last very long. As I remember, there weren't as many games with Advance in the title as there were with 64. Which was like the whole time, or Super for the Super Nintendo. It's kind of nice. I really like that convention. I think it's cool. You didn't really get that for Game Boy Color, as I remember. You know, I can't even think of an example. DuckTales Color. So, I mean, so it was released early on, so it's maybe just a thing of let's get titles released for this thing to make it seem like it's got games coming out on it. And I guess it was maybe also a thing of this is a PlayStation game running on this Game Boy, look how powerful it is, but carefully chosen because it was probably a PlayStation game it could get away with, technically. But there's also the thing which I feel doesn't really exist anymore, of it's Rayman on the go. I don't know. It seems very much the zeitgeist of that time of releasing Game Boy games. It was like, hey, you know this thing you enjoy? You can do it on the go. You can do it on the bus, on the train. Forms of transport. I don't know. That was the thought that immediately came to mind. And you know what? I found it not. It wasn't just a thing of, hey, that's a game I'd forgotten about. It was £2. I paid for it with a £2 coin, which is kind of bizarre. It wasn't just, let's buy it because it's there. It actually did kind of appeal to me, like, hey, I can play this on the Game Boy. That's cool. I like that game, and I can play it wherever I like. I will invariably play it in the same chair where I would be playing the PlayStation, probably. But it's also interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing the changes that were either made or were just made necessary in order to fit it on to a Game Boy Advance cartridge, or to make it work on a Game Boy Advance. It's a game I'm pretty familiar with. I have completed it. I was about to say I had never completed it, but I think I did complete it a few years ago, actually, not so long ago. I don't know, there's something about this that is, it's one of those this would not be made today things. I may be wrong about it's X but on the go trend having gone away, because obviously the explosion of mobile gaming and therefore sort of gaming for everyone has, it happened with like smartphones and stuff, and it's still very much around. But I guess that form of play, gaming, is taken for granted, that it's not. I suppose maybe it's just taken for granted now that, like, yes, you should be able to do these things on the go, or there's certain kinds of games that you can play on the go, and actually lots of people do it, so it's not really a selling point. So much is available on phones and tablets and the like that, people take it for granted. It's not a selling point, whereas it seems more conspicuous in these games. This was the first, I think, Rayman game on the Game Boy, and it carries that distinction of being a portable Rayman game at a time when that was not otherwise available. I don't know. None of this is particularly interesting, in and of itself, but it was sort of that attitude to releasing games or marketing games, and that kind of imagery or that chat that surrounded the Game Boy Advance, which I came to late. So actually, maybe its library, certainly its early library, kind of has a bit more of that mystique. That was kind of summed up for me when I saw this game. I was reminded of that, all that stuff about the Game Boy Advance, surrounding the Game Boy Advance. That might not have been very coherent. I don't mind. That's okay. I think I'll play this. I think I might play it tonight. Jolly good. Yippee.